Hey everyone, we're back. We're here for our post show of Real Player Game called Real Post Game.
Yo, yo.
Yeah.
Well said.
Spencer. How dare you
First
bring
of all,
out a weak burp like that? If you're gonna do it, you gotta do it.
Well, can you demonstrate? That's better.
Guys,
No,
Yeah.
that was not.
Justin
That's
is a
we
fine,
weren't
classy
serious.
woman, and you should not defile his presence like that.
I am a fine, classy woman.
I just see. I had some green tea before the session, but now I just had some soda of a variety. I will not say which.
A brand.
A brand. I had a brand of soda, and now I have that caffeine kind of kicking in. Feels good, man.
Spencer,
Was it
Spencer caffeine,
was
it's
it
like
below
giving a
explosion?
3-year-old sugar.
What did you say, Justin?
Was the soda below explosion? Is that the kind of soda you had? Is that another way of saying below explosion? I'll explain
to
to you
think
why
of
that's
what-
funny in Spanish later.
Okay.
Here's like Justin's joke, and here's my head. And it just like went.
Yes.
I think
Same.
that's a me thing. That's
No, I'm on the same boat. I'm sorry, Justin. I'm sorry. We're gonna like watch this back,
All
and
right,
then
let's ignore that joke.
no. We're gonna
Doesn't
watch this
matter.
back on YouTube, and somebody's gonna be like, "Ha, that's really funny. Why did nobody else laugh?"
Yeah.
When I explain it, it's fine.
Well, yeah.
Explain when you're
Anyway,
older.
yeah. So
But yeah.
post show.
So
I'm older than you.
Rollins.
so I was really tired because I spent the past 3 days. Sorry, fake burp. Not sleeping at my house, sleeping at one of the houses near OSU campus because MitsuriCon was going down at the Greater Convention Center in Columbus. It was awesome. So MitsuriCon, I went there all 3 days. Slept on a couch both Friday night and Saturday night. But it was amazing. Max came with me Friday.
Don't know whose couch. You just
Yeah.
found some couches, slept on them.
All right, it's just a couch.
It was a friend's house. It was a friend's house's couch. So yeah. It was
Street
actually it was
couches.
electric. So it went back and put up your feet and you could control it that way. So it was actually one of the most comfortable couches I've ever slept on.
House?
No, it was Sam's.
Nice.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So but yeah. So that was fun. Max, how was your experience with the con?
I liked it. I haven't been to a lot of cons. I've only been to a few, and my situation for each of them has always been different. The problem is that the last couple times I've gone to cons, it's been with people a little bit more on my end of the spectrum where they don't really know about it, and a couple times, like one time, it was just people who were just there for partying, like
The rave.
yeah, not even that.
Really?
Like, so like. The Greater Columbus Convention Center, for those who need context, has a large hotel attached to it, like a lot of them do. And so, like, I got invited there by people who, had a room there, probably with a couple people that were there for the convention, but the people that I was there with, that I knew, were not there for it at all. They were just there to party in that hotel room. So I, like, did a brisk walk around, and then we were just there the whole time. And I didn't enjoy it. Going around this time, having gone with you and our friends Dalton and Sam and Ashley,
Yep.
was a lot better because it was just people that were more involved.
Yep.
I ran into a few more people there that I really had no idea were there.
Yeah, because go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, all I was gonna say is that because like we cosplay, so
they
so
were
that's
there.
why my hair looks so terrible. I've been wearing a wig all day,
Yeah.
so it's like messed up. And I tried to restyle it, and my hair was not having it. And I was like, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I get that problem too.
so one of the coolest things about it was I was actually cosplaying a. This is gonna be super nerdy for a second. My inner weeb is really showing right now, but there's an anime
Sea
called
weeds, so many weeds.
Sarah Zanmai
Your
is the
weeb.
anime, and the reason why it's because it's very Japanese in the sense of it deals with the mythology of a kappa, which is a Japanese mythology creature, and it's really cool
you
because
have
the
to
anime
bow to it to beat it.
right. So
No, it's a real thing
so,
because they've got like little
Yeah.
bowls on the top
Yeah.
of their head.
That looks
and
like a
if they
bald
don't
spot,
have
yeah.
water in the bowl, then they can't move. So if you bow,
and
and
they
it's
love-
like compelled
Yeah.
to bow if you bow to it.
Yeah.
and you have beat.
It's really cool. The anime deals with like some really cool themes, such as like love versus desire. So whether or not you're pursuing something because you love it, or whether it's your own like desire going after it, and that's kind of like where the protagonists fight the antagonists. And a lot of the shows, like when they're it's so the phrase, the slogan of the show is from beginning to end, we're all connected in a big circle. And it's really cool how they kind of elaborate on that by showing how all these different people in the world are connected through these different moments and events throughout time. And lots of them have secrets that they don't want to tell everybody, but through the process of how they defeat essentially the desire demons that they fight, reveals the secrets that they've been hiding. But the reason why it's really Japanese and why nobody's going to watch it is because in the Kappa mythology, there is a mythical organ. This organ does not exist, but it's a mythical organ that is in your butthole. And in order to defeat the desire demons, the Kappa god has to suck that organ out of your butthole. You transform into a Kappa, and then you defeat the desire demons. And that immediately just turned off 80% of the people who I just kind of sold on it with.
Yeah,
That sounds like a Thursday.
I'm now more interested.
Thank you, because here's the cool thing. So Ian Sinclair, he was one of the voice actors. So at each convention they get voice actors there. So me and Dalton, he's a friend of ours. We cosplayed as Mabu and Reo, who are essentially they're cops in this world, but they're the main perpetrators of turning people who kind of given into their desires into these desire demons. Like one guy, he starts going around committing crimes by stealing cats and shaving them because he's jealous that his girlfriend
That's a
loves
crime?
Yeah, because his girlfriend.
Hey, you leave those cats alone.
Yeah, right. What the cats do to
This is a cat-based
What did
role-playing
you?
channel.
This
Yes,
is
it is.
New York City's most dangerous cat shaver.
It's Japan. They don't have any crime. That's a crime for them. So basically, the guy is jealous of because his girlfriend. He feels that his girlfriend loves her cat more than him. So he starts. Yeah. So he starts going around shaving cats. So these guys capture him, kill him, and turn him into a demon, which is really interesting. But anyways, so that's who me and Dalton were cosplaying, and Reo is voiced by Ian Sinclair, which is really cool. He's done a bunch of other stuff, including like Dandy from Space Dandy and all his other voice act. So we met him there. But the reason why this is so important is because me and Dalton thought this is like a super niche thing, but a lot of people were asking for photos of us, which is really cool. Check out my Twitter. I'm going to post some there. But like Ian Sinclair saw our costumes, and he specifically, while we were waiting in line, he like did this whole thing where he was like looking at us, and then we got up there, he freaked out. He was super energetic and super positive. He's like, you don't know how much I love this. I did the first 2 episodes. I read through, got super curious, read the rest of it, and then went to town on it. Because like, here's the thing: so most animes, the voice actors don't sing the songs. They just like take the Japanese words and they kind of put it there. He sings the songs, which is really cool. It's really nice that he has that because he was so committed to it and he loved it. He actually took a selfie of me and Dalton and was like, "I'm sending this to the director," and we freaked out.
That's awesome.
We were like, oh, so it was really fun, but that's why I'm really tired.
Yeah.
Got
it's
little
like
weed
two, like,
boners.
Fans for life, kind of. Like you guys are like always gonna love him now.
Yeah.
Like it's like the time I met Dr. Cox from Scrubs.
Oh yeah.
How'd that go?
He's your kid I know in high school. So he's his uncle. So yeah. Me and Whit were walking into the football locker room. He was dropping off his little nephew for Pee Wee practice Saturday morning. All of a sudden we hear that stereotypical, whistle, that one that he does, like, hey newbie, like in Scrubs. And we turn around and Dr. Cox sitting in his SUV. He calls me and Spencer over. And not this Spencer, my
Different
best friend.
Spencer.
He calls us over and goes, "Hey boys, what was the final score of the game last night?" And we like blew the other team out. We were like, it was like 72-0 or something. Like we really blew them out, like bad. He was like, "Nice, you guys got a good team. Everyone get their minutes." And we were like, "Yeah, everyone got to play last night. starters didn't really play for that long. We kind of blew them out. And he was like, yeah, you guys are going to have a good team this year. He was like, I'm going to try to catch another game. I said, what were you guys' name? We introduced ourselves. And he was like, awesome. Yeah, he was like, cool. Well, you guys have a good one. We were like, yeah, thanks.
Gosh.
And we walked away. And we kind of turned around, and he did a Dr. Cox quote for us. He was like, you guys had
I didn't even say anything.
He was like, you guys had a really good game. And we were like,
Awesome.
Yeah. And we played it off. We played it really cool. We were like, sweet, thanks.
Yeah.
We went and turned the corner, went in the locker room. We were like, yeah!
Oh man.
We just talked to Dr. fucking Cox.
That's how me and Dalton were too. After, where the nerves get to you, and you finally calm down. You're like, oh, that happened.
See, I remember when we went to Colossal Con together.
Yeah. Oh, that was the best con I've ever been.
You and Connor had that moment when
Johnny Young Bosch. Yeah.
Johnny Young Bosch.
Yeah.
We all stood in line for an hour to get Johnny Young Bosch's autograph.
Yeah.
And Connor and Spencer go up and they each get their autograph, and he's talking like, oh yeah, you guys must be huge fans, big fans, whatever. I go up.
Side note, he actually voices my favorite character from anything ever. It's an anime, but it's Vash the Stampede from Trigun. He is my hero.
Yeah, everyone else might know him as the Green Power Ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Spencer and Justin go up. Oh, not Justin. Spencer and Connor go up. They get their autographs, and then I go up, and first thing he fucking says to me, he looks me dead in the eyes, and he says, "You're gonna put this on eBay, aren't you?" It's kind of like, Max. I don't understand why people just feel like they can say things like that. We were at a restaurant
10 minutes ago.
Yeah, 10 minutes ago, we were out getting food at a restaurant, a indeterminate brand.
A fast food restaurant.
Yeah.
And this guy, I say to the cashier, I'm like, yeah, I'm just deciding what I want. And the guy walks by and just looks at me and goes, one of everything, right? And then walks out. And then before I realized what I said, Max was like, that guy just make a fat joke? Yeah.
As he's walking out.
I completely missed it, so I was just like, do we need to go kick his ass? Should we go kick this ass?
See, it would have been really funny, and I could tell.
We're not going to say who, but we got to put a McBoot in his ass.
Yeah. It would have been really funny if one of the McDonald's employees just was like, yeah, you guys should go kick his ass.
Yeah.
That to me would have been a sign.
I think the guy at the register picked up on it, didn't he?
There's a chick at the register.
It was a chick.
No, there was the dude who was running the window though.
Oh, he turned around?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, but he kind of, he didn't look like the type that would say that.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, Colossal Con. It was the only con I ever went to.
Yeah.
So that was an amazing moment I just had, but an overall experience, Colossal Con was amazing because it's at the Kalahari Water Park, and I remember specifically showmanship. So I dressed up as Deadpool and was kind of doing a Deadpool kind of thing. Dan dressed up as Bobby
from Supernatural.
Did a great job.
I had a line of girls lining up. You remember you sat in that Supernatural convention with me, and there were we were the only guys in there, and there were only two Bobby cosplayers. It was me and one girl, who was in a wheelchair. She was the wheelchair Bobby, and I was standing up Bobby. And I remember, every couple minutes, I would just be like, balls, and this whole room of girls would just be dying laughing, and I felt like Mr. Big Dick.
One of my favorite moments though from that con too, it was because the overall experience was they were just really relaxed there and was super nice because when you get to bigger ones like OhanaCon, they can be kind of strict with the rules.
But the underage drinking and the fact that I was walking around with 8 beers in my pocket.
Anyway, skipping past that, so there was people going that had these free hug signs on, and it wasn't just one; it was 5 at least in every room.
Back then, it was
everyone was. It was so annoying.
But the thing is, you look at the guys that are doing it, and they're these
They're the last people you want to show up and hug.
In the words of D. Reynolds from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, the newest season that's on Hulu, soy boy beta cucks.
Damn.
Wow.
Jesus.
All right, so maybe not that bad.
So, anyways, but speaking of showmanship,
Can I say that?
Dan,
I
what
don't think so, but you did.
what did
Hey, if Always Sunny can say it, I can say it.
Dan, what did you come up with
No.
to counteract this problem that was the free hugs infection on Colossicon?
$1 premium hugs.
Tell me more, Dan. What is this $1 premium hug?
A $1 premium hug got you exactly what it sounds like, a premium hug.
A
I mean,
better
you could
hug.
go around hugging all these skinny bone, like skeleton guys who have no meat on them and get like
Skinnier
a
than
really,
me.
You can get like a really awkward hug and like have it not be a great experience, or you could pay $1 and hug a literal giant teddy bear like me. Someone who is very experienced with hugs, someone who is going to make you
Experienced with the lady.
I could. I give great hugs, and everyone knows it. God damn it!
Yes, he does.
You know, you feel safe. You feel secure. You know, everyone. I was bigger than everyone. You know, and if a big guy wraps you up in his arms, but not hard, like in a gentle, firm way. You know that's reassuring. That's comforting. That's secure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I sold enough to buy a margarita.
Yes, he did. He did. It was amazing. And it's Kalahari too, so they rack up the prices.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I teamed up with it because I was doing my Deadpool thing. I did 99-cent hugs.
Yeah. I hugged my way into inebriation.
While he was doing his,
Man's got a drink. Man's got a drink, Max.
So while he was doing his big pitch, I was like, I have the discount hug, so I'm a little bit cheaper because I'm smaller.
Yeah, but people were like, well, why don't I just pay 1 more cent to get a hug from him? And I was like,
He sold
exactly.
it. Yeah, he sold it. Yeah.
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 I remember people were so mad though. Like some people were walking up and were
because
like,
you had a $1.
Oh yeah, we made every free hug guy insanely
well,
upset.
not only that, but it was like all like the
'cause
chicks
you're
that were like giving
undermining-
free
you're
hug guys
undermining
hugs.
that positivity spread. with
Yeah,
that
they were like,
free
love
drink.
is free, and I was like, you're right, love is free. My hugs aren't.
Market price, buddy. I get to pick.
I was like, how about, I'll tell you what, I will give one of you a sample hug, and you can decide
whether or not you
sample
want
hug?
whether or not like you could tell your friends.
So is
that's
that like a
worth
sample
$1.
hug? Is that like the
And
the
it's like
ass?
a-
I remember that person
awkward
being
hug?
like,
just like
yeah, that okay, that's like a really nice hug. Like they were like, yeah, that's a very good hug. Yeah, well, them's the breaks.
Yeah. So
Them's
I'd
the
have to say
breaks.
Colossicon was like my favorite experience because I met Johnny Young Bosch, who like he voices my hero, and then his band played, and then there was other moments like that, and we really kind of like were able to kind of be in our character, which was really nice. But the Ian Sinclair, meeting him and like having that kind of moment with him, that was probably my favorite con moment ever, which was really nice.
The
So,
long con.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really
The
it was a
long-
really nice moment.
It's
So.
a real long con.
Yeah, exactly. So
What about you, Justin? Do you have a favorite con memory? You said you've been to a few.
Yeah. So actually,
can you?
Justin?
I got him on
What?
here. Do you guys not hear?
No.
Oh shoot.
You may have lost the Skype call with them.
what? Oh,
Technical difficulties.
Hang
yeah,
on
Mark.
on 'em.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mark.
Did we hang up on you?
No, I'm still in there.
Well,
I'm
anyway,
in there with
the
you.
meantime-
Justin left.
in the
Justin,
meantime,
get back in Skype.
Get back
I
in
will
Skype.
say, seeing, because we watched the Women in Anime panel, and seeing the voice of Winry
Yeah,
from Full Metal Alchemist,
super cool.
because for that role at least, she doesn't change her voice at all, so I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh my god, it's Winry.
Well, that was a really nice experience because it was called Women in Anime,
Yeah.
and they were talking about like what it is to be like the how they explained it was like are things like how are the stereotypes been with women in anime and how has that kind of grown and changed over time, and we had a Dalton who was there asked a really great question, like asking them like, hey, what's other stuff written by women that you would recommend, which was really
like
cool.
the very last moment when the con people were like, this needs to end, like we gotta move on. They were like, oh, that's actually, we probably should say that.
Yeah.
Because, like, really, the content of the panel was question-based, you know, it was people asking questions based around the concept of women in anime, so
Yeah.
it was like...
Yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah. What other panels did you guys see? Well, you saw 2 without me, I think?
Yeah, Whose Line is an anime, which is always a blast. They just play improv games,
Yeah.
and so it's just like simple little games like like I think House Party is like one of the most common ones where it's like everybody has like a quirk in the person. The improver like lets them into the house and has to guess what's their thing. So one person could only talk with like one word answers. One person was a tsundere. It was like stuff like that, which is just kind of silly and fun. And another one was about like it was like I forget what it was called. It was like marketing something, but basically the improver guy. He's having a press conference. It's called press conference because he has to confess to something that he doesn't know what he's confessing to, while all the news reporters know what he's confessing to and ask him questions. Yeah. So the thing that he didn't know he was confessing to was that he was going and putting his fingers into pies in each of the shops, and he didn't know that. So all the questions the reporters would be like, "So, do you prefer like to wash up beforehand, or do you just kind of go in and like stuff like that?" Is there a certain like they come up with like funny things too, where it's just like I'm from Windowsills Incorporated, like windowsills, like where you rest and he's just like, and I'm wondering, is there a certain color that you prefer more than anything else? So and then he has to respond to that, like what would it be and stuff like that. So I thought it was really funny.
So Justin, sorry. Now that we have you.
Yeah, we got you back.
What was what's your most fond?
My favorite con, I guess. I mean, so it was like a LARP after party, which was kind of fun. Everybody was there in these like giant, super elaborate goth costumes.
Like Victorian,
kind of
or
cool.
like.
What's up?
Like Victorian era, or like modern?
Some of them were more modern, some more Victorian. It kind of like depended on their character. This is all like, so there's this game called Vampire the Masquerade, and everybody plays a vampire, and some of the vampires are older, some of the vampires are younger. So there were some people there that had like big ass bodices, like corsets.
Cool.
Yeah, that was cool. I got to meet Eliza Dushku once.
Who's that?
Yeah, who is that?
Huh?
Wait, that name sounds.
So see, yeah, somebody who you say is she? You say. Now
you're just somebody that I used to know.
No. Yeah, she was Faith, the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Somebody that you used to know, they've never monetized that video.
Really?
I always think it's
it
funny
has-
when you go into. What's up?
How many views does it have?
Sorry, I didn't mean to derail that. I'll look up how many views it has, but somebody that you used to know, I recently saw today. I learned about it. They've never monetized the video, and so
Is it? Well, look. Is it on a Vivo channel?
no, it's
Vivo.
It's the band. The band has their own YouTube channel. 1.2 billion views.
Jesus.
Never monetized it.
I've never seen 1.2 billion of anything.
Oh, and then an ad plays. Never mind. I made up that story. Thanks, Reddit.
Oh, so it's monetized.
It's monetized.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh man, I feel cheated.
Right.
Keep going, Justin. I'm sorry.
Thanks again.
I'm sorry for
I
lying.
was gonna say, as those weird animes, like I went to Dragon Con one time in San Francisco, and we went to this. I want to say it was like a Metal Gear
It's okay.
thing, and they were asking like the most ridiculous questions about the weirdest intricacies of the plot for this kind of like strategy based search and destroy game.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What are you guys doing over there? I can see you.
We were laughing because
Sorry, yeah.
my roommate's here cooking something, and he had to get something out of a drawer that was being blocked by the
camera.
tripod that
What's-
the camera is on.
What's going on?
So my roommate, he had to get something out of a drawer that the tripod for the GoPro camera was blocking, and so he was just super carefully, like a game of operation, pulling the foil out out of the drawer.
Oh.
And we were all just laughing because he did it so carefully.
Ah,
Get out of my kitchen.
anyways, so.
Yeah.
that's funny.
So, yeah, sorry, Justin. Go. You can finish your story.
No, yeah, that was. I always thought that was the same thing. It's like, I feel like a lot of those like TED Talks that they give, conference panel things, people ask like, what was I noticed that you made the armor in a trifold instead of a normal dome. What was the reasoning behind this? Was that supposed to be kind of like a nod to this other super obscure thing that Justin doesn't know about?
I mean, people do always try to reach for connections with things, especially in panels.
Well, no, I mean, I think it's funny because, like, what I mean? They're like, no, that's just like the way we fucking drew it.
We just did. Sorry.
Actually, that studio was free that day, so.
God, if we ever got successful enough to the point where we had to do a panel and people were to ask me questions like, Dan, what was your reasoning behind this? I'm just gonna be like, look, I have no idea.
Every week.
Why I've done everything.
Wing it.
Like anything. Listen, kids. Just don't ask me those questions. Like, moving on.
So yeah. On the next segment of the podcast, I have yet another Ask Reddit topic. So this came up in the middle of the week, and I thought it was perfect for us. So, the question is on Ask Reddit. A magical pet store is open, but the good pets are too expensive. What magical pets do you find in the discount section?
I would. Okay, so remember that show Cat Dog?
Yes.
It's that. But it's the other halves. So it's just
It's the
a
other
cat-
half?
It's
a
just
cat
two
butt,
ass.
It's a cat butt and a dog butt, and nothing guiding it. It runs on. It's like a jellyfish. You know how they kind of just move.
No.
They
They just
function,
kinda-
and that's their entire existence until.
But
they
how
run
does it
out.
eat?
Yeah, which one eats? Well,
That's
how
why
did
it's
cat
the
dog
discount
poop?
bin. You have to figure it out, and I don't know
Exactly.
what it eats. Does it eat poop?
It doesn't eat.
I
It
don't
just-
know.
Does it eat poop?
It
and then
just
eat poop out
No,
food?
because here's the thing. Here's the thing that you guys don't get. What those things are is actually like where they meet is a dimension rift, and the cat but dog is just the other side of that rift.
Okay.
Oh, so
that
this is
makes
why we
a-
gotta ask the wizard.
Yep, that's why we asked the magic user.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
concern
So
is
these
like, when you,
these animals are very rare, but
when
they're just
you
cat butt dog
buy
butt.
an at-log,
And-
as I like to call it, do you get it a litter box or do you get it a backyard?
I'm sorry. What was it called
An
again?
at-og?
An at-og?
Yeah, because it's just the end.
I got it. I like it, Max. I thought that was hilarious.
Thank you for the rim shot there.
Oh, okay. What do you get it? Both, I guess.
Yeah, do you put a litter box in the yard?
Oh,
You know, that kind of,
Discount bin, man. Like,
you get it a
it's just
sandbox.
a pile of creatures. You
Yeah.
just reach in and you get what you get, you know?
that reminds me of that old bit from South Park with like the evil doctor just being like, yes, this is my new creation, the 5-assed monkey.
Yes. Oh, from the beginning of Aqua Team Hunger Force. Yes.
No, from South Park.
Oh, from South Park?
Yeah, there's the old guy who's like the 5. He's like, this is much better than my other creation, the 4-assed monkey. This is all going towards my goal of one day achieving the greatness of creating a 6-assed monkey. Why does it need
Christ!
Why does it need 6 asses? Huh?
Oh, that's amazing.
Why do you need one?
That was like always like one of my old like favorite bits from like that's like
From OG South Park. OG South Park.
That was like one of my favorite bits. Yes, 5-assed monkey.
Now, Justin, you had an idea before about your creature.
I
are you
had an
still
idea?
Sticking with it? Yeah, we were talking about it in one of the breaks.
Were we talking about like?
The pet shop.
Yeah, your pet shop discount animal.
So, which idea were? Because I had like
If you
the
want
frogs,
to
like the frogs that used to be princes, but like they kissed a princess and it just didn't work. So now they're just like
Frogs.
humans stuck inside frogs.
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
just, like,
yeah.
foul-mouthed
They're-
frogs.
Yeah. They can probably still, because couldn't those? Yeah, the frogs could speak whatever language that the princess spoke, because that's how they communicate.
Right.
You have to kiss me, and I'll turn into a prince.
So it's just a frog that has human spite
Yes.
Yeah.
because it's just pissed off. He's like, well, this is me now.
Yeah.
This
You
is
basically
me.
get like Oscar the Grouch, but in frog form.
Yeah.
Frogster the Grouch.
Yeah, Frogster
See,
the
that's-
Grouch.
Don't bring me flies.
It's a
I like
terrible
crickets.
bet.
You know I like the crickets.
See, I would go with something similar to that, but I would do like a one-eyed cat that wears like a trench coat, like old style detective, like very like noir-esque, like, but he's very, very, very like disgruntled cat. Like this cat's
Like
been
Puss in
he's like lost 8 lives.
Like, because he's been on the force too long, he's just kind of burnt
Yeah,
out.
he's like one of those old burnt out ones, like, you know, Rick and Morty, like the
Divorced,
Morty cop
alcoholic
that's like,
cat.
Yeah.
He's
He's doing it for so long, he just, you know.
but somehow he just keeps on fighting that good fight.
Yeah.
And he's
'Cause he
probably
keeps
the
putting
best
the bad
stand
guys
cop,
away.
you know, on the force if it wasn't for his wife leaving him and the alcohol
Yeah.
and that run in with the cocaine.
That one time.
That one time.
One time. There's one time.
He's always
I
hitting.
mean, he dodged.
He's always.
he dodged the
he's always
the
hitting
IA
the nip.
investigation, but
hitting the nip.
yeah, he's always hitting that nip. He dodged the IA
Hitting the
investigation, but man, did it derail his
I
career.
don't like that term.
Hitting the
That's
nip.
a gross term.
But I mean, I just have like this image of like this like cat that's just like,
Yeah.
like
The
you know,
cat's
and,
like-
like
the
just
cat's
wearing,
like-
a little like.
With the
meow.
and then has
Oh, God, meow.
the catnip all over his face instead.
Meow. Oh.
Yeah, no. No, I'm just picturing like a cat, like a one-eyed cat with like a trench coat and like a little fedora on. Very noir, like film noir-esque. And yeah, you guys get
that's your
disgruntled
discount
cop.
animal?
Yeah, dude, because like he's probably old as hell. He's used up 8 of his 9 lives. Like, you know, he's probably beat up, but you know he's still gonna give you a lot of value in that. Like, you know, this cat's been around the block, man.
Yeah.
You know, you bring him along, he's gonna be like, "Hey, take a left here. I know a guy." Like one of those things. All right,
Cool.
shit, man, I got you.
Like a not
do
cute
it.
version of Detective Pikachu.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Like Detective Pikachu if he was an alcoholic.
Spencer, what was yours?
So, mine was like a mini Cerberus, like a Cerberus, you know, the
Cerberus?
Cerberus, yeah,
Yeah.
which was the 3-headed dog that guarded Hades. It's basically that, but it's like poodle
Like
size.
a Pomeranian.
Yeah, so it's 3 heads of like the loudest, yippiest dog that you can have.
Pomeranian.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Or Chihuahua. It's like one Pomeranian, one Chihuahua, and a Bichon, or a Schnauzer. And so
3 of them.
and so they're all different, like annoying dog heads that
God.
that are always upset whoever shows up, no matter who it is. It knows who the owner is.
Anytime it starts barking, the detective cat lights a cigarette. And it's like, get me out of this box.
Oh God, that's like 3
But
different
that's
pitches
3
of
times
yipping,
over.
too.
So just,
God, it's like my house. Ah.
your house, yeah.
Yeah, I have 3 little tiny dogs that bark.
That's what gave me the idea.
Yeah.
That's what gave me the idea.
That's the worst.
Dan's 3 dogs and making it
Oh.
into one.
It might as well be. They all roll together everywhere.
Yeah.
Seriously, they sleep next to each other, they shit next to each other, they eat next to each other. They don't do anything without the other.
Yeah.
Like if one of them's on one floor and the other one's on another floor, they like freak out. I'm not kidding. They are a pack.
Yeah. Well, they got that pack mentality.
Pack tactics. They get advantage on attack rolls.
The other animal that I had was a chimera, but instead of it being a lion's head, a goat's body, and a serpent's tail, it was the head of a platypus, the body of a turtle, and the tail of a spider. So it's like a spider butt.
Oh.
So it's
That's
like all
nice.
it's like so
Whose
it's
legs does it have?
the turtles.
Oh, okay.
So it's like super slow and just
Ew.
hideous.
It just has a ball hanging out.
Yeah,
its
yeah,
back.
it's just like this big giant like silky spider butt that's all hairy.
I would just want to squish it.
Bro, that's the point. That's why
No,
it's in the
that's the thing.
discount section.
chimeras that aren't really good for being in dungeons.
Right.
Like it's part manatee, part armadillo, and part jellyfish.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do with it? I don't even know.
Why platypus face? What does that do for it?
Because the platypus is it's a duck.
It's
like
already like a
it's
duck
already
fever.
messed up. It's
Yeah.
it's already like a concocted creature. So putting that face on like another concocted creature, it's like, did this spawn from the platypus?
Should have just
Did
made
it?
a 5-ass monkey.
Yeah.
Thanks, Spencer. I hate it so much.
So yeah.
Okay. So we had our. What do we want to do? Do you want to move on to our favorite book?
Well, you got what's your? Oh, you already said.
Yeah.
At Og.
Everybody
That's-
already said that. Did anybody else come up with any other animals or?
Mike, did you have one that you wanted to share?
A leopard suffering from leprosy.
Oh.
The leprosy leopard.
So
Yeah.
a leopard that's just got pieces falling off of it.
Sounds like he belongs in the island of misfit mascots.
Or an immortal lemming.
Yes.
So a lemming without fall damage.
Yeah. He's trying, but it just can't die.
God damn it! Like,
Does it actively want to die?
Yes, lemmings
Oh, okay.
actively commit suicide.
Actually, funny enough, that was Disney pushing them off a ledge.
Man.
Disney.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. But that's a whole nother discussion.
wait, like
but,
Walt Disney himself, just like individually pushing lemmings.
yeah, before he got frozen, he was like, "Oh, we gotta get some good footage here."
These lemmings are Jewish.
Oh no! Oh no!
That got dark in a hurry.
Okay. All right.
Isn't there a thing that like Walt Disney like was anti-Semitic?
And moving on.
Yes.
So,
He was, but still.
He was.
we have our favorite book once again this week. Dan, I think actually, would you like to introduce our favorite book of the channel of the podcast?
Yes. Suffering in Silence, Test of Time by Deborah L. Dublin. This week's passage is the beginning of chapter 4. So, I'm going to read about, well, on here it's like 2.5 pages. In reality, it would probably only be like a page. So,
I'm ready for
but
it.
I think you have to just hear this whole thing up until a certain point.
Okay.
I can remember the long walk from the trash can in the alley behind our house to the back door of our house. It seemed like it took me an hour to make the journey. That's all one sentence with random commas. I had just told my mother what I thought was happening to me. I thought I was carrying a baby. I asked her not to tell my father. Instead, while I was taking the trash out, I could hear him screaming at my mother as if he wanted to kill me. I wanted to run, but where would I go at age 14 in junior high school, no job, no money, and pregnant? Couldn't run to my family's house. They were all around the corner. I would surely be found. I knew my mother still had my 2 little sisters to take care of, Leanne and Cassidy, and my brother Greg, who was in the Job Corps and was older than me. Plus, she was a hairdresser who stood on her feet all day in the shop. After she worked in the shop all day, she would come home, start dinner right away. We ate basically at the same time every day. My dad wanted it that way. He wanted some structure in his home. We did our housework, then took our baths and was in the bed. It was like a family schedule. All I can remember my dad saying to me was, "I knew you couldn't be trusted. Now what's your mother going to do?" I could see the hate in his eyes. I could feel the heat of rage coming from his body. I knew I was dead, but instead he showed me how bad he could treat me without committing murder. I was
committing murder.
Yes.
Oh no.
I was his eldest daughter, and I had disgraced his family. He had been working for the government for several years, and I was to be an example for my younger sisters. Oh, what an example he would make of me.
Oh my god.
Wow.
I was a fairly good student, loved to sew, had dreams of being a fashion designer. I also played in the band at school, hoping to play in the marching band in the neighborhood high school band. My father had high hopes for all of his children, and I had to be the first to completely ruin his image as Mr. Godfrey Douglas with his loving, quiet wife, Mrs. Maggie Douglas. I was a misfit in his eyes for the next several months. I was to be a debutante or going to the ball at the cotillions.
Cotillion.
My mother took to the bed as she did the day I started my monthly cycle, or became a woman, as they used to say, at age 11. She just could not understand why so early we did not have a chance to discuss the girly things before this. She was too sick to talk about any of it now. My mother was having trouble with her heart. The doctor said it was very unusual for her heart to be giving her trouble. It would just totally go off on its own with very high or fast beats, where she would have to breathe into a brown paper bag to get her oxygen back. Yeah, it's called panic attacks.
Is this all one paragraph?
Pretty much.
This is like 3 pages.
Oh man, and this is a roller coaster.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, it just goes on to talk about like how each of her family like reacts to her being pregnant.
Oh my gosh. It was
I told
like,
you.
Oh.
I told you there's a story in here.
There's a story.
There's a story.
And it just got intense.
Yeah.
She got pregnant at the age of 14.
Yeah. That
I
sounds
have a
so
sister
rough.
named Cassidy too. So great. Now I have a connection to this story. That's what I wanted.
You're hooked, Max. You're hooked into the narrative.
Great. Well,
Oh man.
go out,
And guess
buy
what,
yourself
brother?
a copy of what is it? The Test
Suffering
of
in Silence, Test of
Test of
Time.
Time.
Please,
Or is it
yeah.
Test of Time, Suffering in Silence.
Well, we've been enjoying each week. This is like the first moment, like Dan reading that, I was encapsulated. Yeah. Like no,
Time.
really,
This is
like
your first encapsulation in it after reading the book in its entirety.
no. I mean, like, instead of like thinking of it kind of like a comical way, it was like I was like, this is actually that's an intense like moment.
Yeah.
Like that's a hugely intense moment.
I
was,
told you.
Yeah.
There's a story in here.
Yeah.
That's why you guys are like,
I
oh,
was-
Dan wants to read it. Dan wants to edit it. Like, there's a story in here. We just got to help her tell it a little bit better.
Wow.
And I think, I'm telling you,
What's her name?
Deborah L. Dublin.
Yeah.
Deborah, I think you gotta.
Get on our show.
Come on our show.
Do you see this space right here between all the cameras? That's for you.
You know, if
Go right there.
if Heido can get Frankie Muniz, we can get Deborah Dublin.
Oh yeah. Shout out.
Oh yeah, that's a shout out. So we have a friend named Kyle Heido, who has the Dynamite podcast. It's about 15 episodes in. You know, he's been
I think
doing
it's
it
more
for a
than
while.
that.
It's been going for a while.
Yeah, I think he's more than that. 'Cause I was listening to a couple the other day.
He's a comedian. He is an expert in martial arts. He's
Brazilian
got a lot to
jiu-jitsu.
talk about. He's a business
You would
owner.
want me to
And his
specify.
And
podcast is great.
I'm glad you did.
Since very early in the podcast, he's been having this running joke that he's going to get the attention of Frankie Muniz from Malcolm in the Middle, who played Malcolm. And just this weekend, guess who tweets at the Dynamite Podcast Twitter other than Frankie Muniz himself? So congratulations, Heido.
Yeah.
That's impressive. that's great. If Heido can get Frankie Muniz, we can get Deborah Dublin. I'm calling it now.
Exactly.
Yeah, I want
we
it.
can do it.
I mean, gosh, Facebook?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll get it. We'll get it.
We'll figure it out.
But please, once again, just like each week, we highly encourage buying Suffering in Silence Test of Time because,
It's on Amazon.
Support this artist.
yeah, for real.
Yeah.
I actually can I borrow this.
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, just
Is there an audiobook option? I wonder. She might be on Audible.
I hope so.
Yeah.
That'd be
If not,
amazing.
she should be. I would
Yeah.
love to hear her
Yeah.
in there. Because this is what I'm saying. I literally feel like when you're reading this, it feels like almost spoken word.
Yeah.
It feels more
Right?
like a script than a
It feels very spoken word. So it's like, I mean, I could very clearly imagine like an older. I could imagine Deborah sitting next to me telling me the story.
Yeah.
That's like what reading this book is like.
Yeah.
And like, yes, you know, we want to make fun of, you know, there's
Well,
some poking and whatever. And like,
I thought it was funny because, yeah, like you said, it's just not edited in the best way.
right. Some people just might not know.
Yeah.
You know, they just might. But yeah. Yeah.
I'm surprised that it's kind of turning now that we're just like we kind of like this book now.
Let's wait until let's at least hold off until we have a considerable audience so that she has a good platform.
Yeah.
To express everything that she
Yeah,
wants
follow
to
us so Deborah can come on the show.
Yeah,
Please,
It's-
yeah.
The more following we get,
The better Deborah's
the more
chances.
Deborah's can show the world what she's created.
Yeah. And if she
I'd
doesn't
love
have
to
an
see it.
if she doesn't have an Audible like thing, we should just record her reading
Yeah.
it and then
Yeah.
and put it up.
Yeah, we'll give her all the proceeds for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Deborah Dublin,
Of course. I just
my girl.
want to meet Deborah
Yeah,
because it seems like she's had quite the life.
yeah.
Yeah.
She's suffered in silence.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
On that note,
Well, actually, I had one other top. Well, I mean, we gotta save it for next week.
What is it?
Well, you're tempting everyone now.
yeah.
Well, okay, so I just started this new show on Netflix. Well, I didn't start the new show. I finished the season.
Yes.
It's a show called Mindhunter.
I haven't
Yeah.
seen it.
Okay, have you guys heard about it?
No.
Okay.
Justin, have you heard of it?
Mine.
I've heard of it. I haven't.
Okay. Have you ever seen, and just yes or no, no judgment, yes or no, have you ever seen Criminal Minds?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you enjoy Criminal Minds?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Okay. If you like Criminal Minds at all, you will love Mindhunter because it's Criminal Minds minus all that sappy bullshit that they have to throw in because it's on a major network.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is Mindhunter's Netflix made.
Oh.
It's very cerebral. Very, 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 very intense. It's about the founding of the Behavioral Sciences Unit in the FBI.
Oh.
So like they're like the team, like the guys who like started coming up with it and founding, and so like it's like the inception of it, like when they're first starting to go and like talk to serial killers for the first time, and like they're first starting to be like, oh yeah, this is like, you know, they're starting to develop the science behind it.
Actually, keep that on, Mike. It lights up Max's face
Oh,
in a good
yeah.
way.
So I'm on. I'm finishing season 2, and my mom and I are watching it right now. And oh my god,
Is
it
that
is
good?
so intense. Yeah, season 1 like ends like really big. I mean, season 1's really good. Season 2 is crazy. I mean, there will literally be times where you're sitting there being like, oh, what? Like a stereotypical point where like. Because, like, a lot of times they're not trying to catch the serial killers. Like, they want to catch them, obviously, but most of their time is being spent, like, researching them. But, like, they go on a case to, like, an active serial killer. And, like, at one point, like, this guy that they're pretty sure, like, well, they didn't know, like, that he's the guy. But, like, it's the guy that, like, killed, like, that was, like, killing kids, is, like, sitting to them in, like, the car next to it.
Yeah.
But it's not done in a cheesy way. It's done, like... Oh man, it's super intense. It's god. I have to watch the last. I actually left to come over here and do the show. I finished,
Before you could finish it.
That's why I was late because I had to leave. There's a half hour left on the episode that I was watching with my mom,
Oh.
and I was like, "Mom, I gotta go." Like, we'll watch this later. I'm sorry, but I have So. That's how important this show is to me. You know, I stopped a season finale halfway through to do this.
Oh, gee, thank you so much, oh Lord Dan.
I'm really glad you put your watching TV plans on hold. to come
for
today.
your show.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
On that note.
On that note.
On that note.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Enjoy your night. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Yep.